Feel free to be whoever you want to be.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Two-Tone Talk podcast, where we're talking about the Tennessee Titans and just NFL football in general. And speaking of the Tennessee Titans, it is a great day to be a Tennessee Titans fan as the Titans go to Lambeau Field last night on Thursday Night Football and take care of the Green Bay Packers in what was probably their most complete performance of the season. I mean, they've probably had stronger defensive performances in the past, but offensively, for sure, their strongest performance of the season by a country mile. The Titans defeat the Packers 27-17. We got to talk about this game. We got to talk about where the Titans go from here. Winners of 7 of their last 8 games now, 7-3, sitting pretty in the AFC South and really sitting pretty in the AFC in general. And a great win for this team. But, of course, there's always got to be something to put a damper on things, and that came in the form of offensive coordinator Todd Downing, after calling probably his best game ever last night. We wake up this morning to news that he has been pulled over and arrested for driving under the influence. Apparently, Todd Downing had some fun on the plane, as I'm sure many guys did, in celebrating the win on the trip back from Green Bay to Nashville. And when he got home, instead of getting an Uber, calling a cab, calling a friend, calling a confidant to drive him home, he decided he could do it himself and got pulled over and had to spend some time, in custody of the police. It's unacceptable, and I know that's not what I really want to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Titans. We're going to talk about the game, but I do want to say it's absolutely unacceptable for Todd Downing to do this. It's unacceptable for anybody to do this. If you are under the influence, there's no excuse to be behind the wheel. And that goes for Todd Downing just as much as it goes for anybody, especially in his position. You've got more than enough money to call an Uber, a cab, a friend, anybody. No excuse for that, and it's not a good look for him. I don't know what that means for the Titans, what that means for him. Vrabel has just done a Zoom call with some of the reporters just a little bit ago, said they're looking into it. So there's not much more to talk about, but it would happen after his best called game that he's ever had. He gets arrested this morning in the wee hours of the morning coming home from the plane, I'm assuming. Ridiculous. Unacceptable. Don't drive drunk, people. Don't drive drunk. It's not worth it. And thankfully, nobody was hurt in this situation. Now, the game last night. Titans 27, Packers 17. And, man, this was the performance that we have been waiting on from TREYLON Burks in particular. He's kind of, he spent some time on injured reserve with turf toe. Before that, he showed signs of good things, but he just really never clicked to the degree that you would have wanted it to. But I said, when he came back from injured reserve, I was like, they're going to have to force the ball to this guy. And you know what I mean when I say force. I don't mean literally, if he's double covered, throw it to him anyway. But he's got to be a priority, is what I meant. And last night, he had 7 catches for 111 yards. And as I said on my YouTube video I posted on my other channel last night, I love the fact that they took the deep shot late at the 2-minute warning just to put that thing away, because first of all, Matt LaFleur did that junk to them 2 years ago to Devontae Adams, who I'm sure they wish they still had him in Green Bay. But, Vrabel comes back. He doesn't forget. He hits him with it last night. TREYLON Burks got a little something to say to the defender afterwards. I love that. Had the long ball to TREYLON on the first drive. Just so good to see him involved. And because he was so involved, all of a sudden you can't overlook Robert Woods with 6 receptions for 69 yards. Derrick Henry, 2 receptions, 45. Austin Hooper, who has just emerged as the go-to guy in clutch situations for this team. 4 receptions, 36 yards, and 2 touchdowns. One of them thrown to him by Ryan Tannehill. One of them thrown to him by Derrick Henry. Chigakonkwo had a reception for 31 yards. That was a brilliant catch by Chigakonkwo. Every time he touches the ball, he makes big plays. Nick Westbrook-Akine, 2 receptions, 28 yards. Dontrell Hilliard, 1 reception for 14 yards, but that 1 reception was a touchdown. Hilliard has been a touchdown machine this year. And then Jeff Swaim with 1 reception for 3 yards as well. Rushing-wise, you had Henry with 28 rushes for 87 yards and a touchdown. 87 hard-earned yards by him. Tannehill's best game of the year by far. Very efficient. 22 of 27, 333, 2 touchdowns. Did have the interception, which was a boneheaded throw, but he was so good the rest of the time, we'll let him get away with it. Derrick Henry also had a touchdown pass as well. Great performance from the offense. And as for the defense, they were really banged up. And they had a lot of guys out. We knew they would. We knew the guys that were in there would, many of them not be 100%. But Jeff Simmons just kept fighting, kept getting double teamed. We know Aaron Rodgers, he gets rid of the ball so fast that it's hard to sack him. But Jeff Simmons finally got to him. Credit to the secondary, because that was a secondary sack. Rodgers had nowhere to go with the ball. Here comes Jeff Simmons with the sack. And then on 4th and 1, to officially put it away, it's almost like Big Jeff lured them in to running at him, because he really had a quiet night. You could tell he wasn't 100%, but it's like he lured them in to running at him on that 4th and 1, and then he stuffed it to pretty much end the game right there. Credit to a guy like Trey Avery with Christian Fulton getting hurt, and I hope he's okay, because we know how good he is and how important he is to this defense. But kudos to a guy like Trey Avery coming in and stepping up late in the game. We remember what happened against Buffalo with him, with Stephon Diggs. It was a nightmare, but he stepped up last night, and kudos to him. It seems like no matter who goes in there on the Titans defense, they just step up and do their job and make plays. And we have to talk about Mike Vrabel. This guy is a fantastic football coach. We may not agree with the way that he does every little thing, the way he handles the media, the way he answers questions, the way he dodges questions, maybe in our minds sometimes. But at the end of the day, the guy wins. The guy wins. And many times he does it with a lot of key guys out. He does it with, less than ideal circumstances, and oftentimes it is ugly. It's not fun to watch, but doggone it, this guy just knows how to coach this team to win games. And I think there's a lot of teams out there that would love to have a guy like Mike Vrabel coaching their football team, because like I said, it's seldomly ever pretty. But you know what? They're 7-3. And they're sitting, like I said earlier, they're sitting pretty in the AFC South and in the AFC in general. So kudos to him and the staff. It feels like today, as I've been on Twitter interacting with fans of the team, it definitely feels like this is the best people have felt about this team so far this year. And I know, they put together, I think, like a 5-game win streak at one point. But, it felt like they were hanging on for dear life to win those games. And so although you're glad they're winning, you're very skeptical about whether they can keep it up. I think last night and the performance they put on, seeing the offense suddenly come to life, I think this is the best that the fans have felt about the team so far this year. And I don't care what the Packers' record was coming in. You go into Lambeau in prime time, in the cold, in the snow flurries against Aaron Rodgers, and you pretty much, it feels like you dominated the game and you won it pretty soundly. I don't know what more you could ask for, and now you get a mini bye to get ready for a revenge game, hopefully, against the Cincinnati Bengals at home. I as far as, where the Titans go from here, you got to build on this, obviously. It's just, it gives you peace of mind going in knowing that you've got a well-coached team that's going to come out there and hit you in the mouth. And already today, I got to talk about this. I turned on the TV this morning to check on the sports shows, the First Takes and the Undisputeds and the Sports Centers and all the different shows. And you already know, Titans fans, what they're talking about. The Packers. Oh, what's wrong with the Packers? What's wrong with Aaron Rodgers? Oh, you see the Packers last night? I think the Packers are finished. Oh, the Green Bay Packers. Oh, the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers. I think other than Scott Van Pelt, God bless him, I don't think I've seen one other analyst other than the Good Morning Football crew, who always kind of, they give the Titans their due, usually. I haven't seen anybody saying, hey, man, how about these Tennessee Titans? They're not saying a word. It's all Green Bay. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Oh, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. I am past the point to where I even get mad about that, because I think that's where this team thrives, is when they're just underdogs, unappreciated. That doesn't even bother me anymore. I prefer that people just give the Titans no credit whatsoever, because that's when the Titans appear to be at their best. But if you want to talk about the Green Bay Packers, I mean, it is a notable story that they have been the number one seed in the NFC for the last 2 years, a Super Bowl favorite, a Super Bowl contender for the last 2 years, and then now they're 4-7. And I mean, I think it's over. Minnesota they're sure not coming back and winning their division. Minnesota is so far ahead of them over there. I think it's insurmountable. But even trying to get in as a wild card team, I think it's out of the question. You got the Cowboys over there that are going to be vying for a wild card spot, the Giants, the 49ers. I mean, I just the Seahawks are hanging around. I think it's over for Green Bay. And I think it's over for Aaron Rodgers. This guy seems like he is completely finished. Feels like his body is telling him that he is finished. And it looks like his mind is telling him that he's finished. I just heard Colin Cowherd talking about the difference in the Titans and the Packers. The Titans are a tough team who come in there with the mindset that we're going to take care of business. And the Packers look like a very weak team right now who have no identity and no idea what they're doing. So Green Bay, I think that's it for them. I think that's a wrap. I think if you're a Packers fan, you could probably start looking at mock drafts for next year and thinking about who your quarterback's going to be, because I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is coming back. As for where the Titans now stack up with these heavyweights in the AFC, which would be considered the Chiefs, Bills, Dolphins, Ravens, I think people would still throw the Bengals in there. They are the defending AFC champions. Listen, I'm never counting this team totally out. I think this team is in every game they play. They're tough. They're gritty. They play really sound, good defense. Derrick Henry, and if this passing game can continue to do what it did last night, we're right there. No, we don't have a Jamar Chase or a Justin Jefferson or a Stephon Diggs. But we've got a style of play that is, very unique to the Tennessee Titans. I do want to say, note something that Richard Sherman said on the Thursday Night Football post-game show last night. Everybody's talking about the Titans and winning the game, and Richard Sherman comes in thinking he's making a great point. He's like, oh, well, yeah, good for them. They won this game, but you know what they don't have? A.J. Brown, because he's in Philadelphia. And without A.J. Brown, it's not going to work, because how many 100-yard games has A.J. Brown already had this year? Two. He's at 2. One more than Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks had 100 yards last night. So that was a stupid argument. How is he getting paid to do what he's doing with that kind of argument? And also, how'd AJ do Monday night against Washington? I'll go ahead and tell you, he had 1 reception for 7 yards. Bravo. Just wanted to note how ridiculous of of a point that was to make by Richard Sherman. Titans improved to 7-3. Packers fall to 4-7. I think the Titans right now, because nobody else has played this week yet, they would be the 2 seed right now. But that is all dependent on what happens this weekend. Speaking of this weekend, let's look ahead to the other games. I always enjoy when the Titans take care of business, and now you just get to sit back, watch everybody else, and see how things go in the rest of the NFL this weekend. Let's make some picks here as we get ready for Sunday. The Chicago Bears, the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Bears, although Justin Fields has been very encouraging, I think the Bears, it's time to look to the offseason, getting some talent for him. Atlanta, they're still like a game back in the NFC South. It's the worst division in football, and the Falcons are still right there. It's Desmond Ridder time. Titans fans, don't we know about Marcus Mariota and the roller coaster ride that is watching him? It's just, I think Mariota's time as a starter is over. You drafted Desmond Ridder early. He cannot be worse than what we've seen from Mariota the last 2 weeks. You're a game back, and you've got some good. This is probably the best roster that the Falcons have had in the last couple of years. I'm not saying it's a great roster, but it's a better roster than what they've had significantly. You got to go with Ridder just to see what you've got. This game's in Atlanta, and I think if Atlanta loses this one, and especially if Tampa Bay can get a win, I don't like their chances. But for right now, the Falcons are still very much alive in that NFC South race, and I think they go in there and get a win. They're on a 2-game losing streak, I think, right now. At home, I think the Falcons can beat the Bears, but I would like to see Desmond Ridder get involved for this Falcons team. Give me the Falcons over the Bears. The Cleveland Browns and the Buffalo Bills. This game was supposed to be in Buffalo. The snow is intense in Buffalo, and so the game has been moved to Detroit, and the Bills are going to have to play 2 games in Detroit within like 3 days because they're playing in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day. I'm going with the Bills in this one. I think the Browns I think the Browns were in a position where they needed to get enough wins so that when Watson came in, they could at least be in striking distance of the playoffs. But you know, they're 3-6, and the AFC has got. I mean, the teams at the top of the AFC are really at the top of the AFC. I think the Browns are done, no matter who the quarterback is. And the Bills are desperate for a win. I think the Bills are on a 2-game losing streak now, of all things. And they're third place in their division right now. So, let's look out for the Bills winning big over the Browns, because they probably have a chip on their shoulder after losing 2 straight. Give me the Bills big over the Browns. Philadelphia Eagles, Indianapolis Colts. Eagles coming off of their first loss of the year. Colts feeling mighty good about themselves with Jeff Saturday as their interim head coach right now. Give me the Eagles. It's tough because I do hate the Eagles because of A.J. Brown, but I hate the Colts too. And honestly, I just think the Eagles, they bounce back. I think the Eagles are a better team than the Colts anyway, but the Eagles are going to be bouncing back from their first loss. The Colts, I don't think it's realistic for them to keep doing what they're doing. This Jeff Saturday experiment, I think, is going to fail miserably. Give me the Eagles by a couple scores over the Colts to bring the Colts back down to reality. This is a big game in the AFC East. Jets, Patriots. If the playoffs started today, the entire AFC East would be in the playoffs. That's crazy to me. The Jets are a surprise team. The Patriots, they're sneaky. Because how many times have we ruled the Patriots out and then they're just randomly still hanging around? This is in Foxborough. I think both teams are coming off of a bye. I'm going with the Patriots. I just think Bill Belichick coming off of a bye, I still have the slightest bit of trouble believing in the Jets. I think it's cool what the Jets have done. A 6-3 surprise team. I don't know. I got a feeling that the Patriots, who are favored by 2.5 points, it's a home game. I'm going with the Patriots here in a close one. Low scoring, 20-17, field goal at the end. Give me the Patriots over the Jets. Rams, Saints in New Orleans. I don't think it matters. I think these two teams are dead in the water anyway. I'm going to go with the Rams. But the Rams may be the disappointment of the season. Defending Super Bowl champions, they look horrible. They're 3-6, and now they're without Cooper Kupp for at least the next 4 games because he went on injured reserve. It's so disappointing. But I think the Saints are just phoning it in. I mean, the Saints got whooped by a bad Steelers team last week. So I think it's a battle of two bad teams, and I'm just going to go with the Rams because I think the Rams probably still have that attitude, like maybe we can make a push here at the end, but I think it's over for the Rams. But give me the Rams in this game. Detroit Lions and the New York Giants. In New York, the Lions have won 2 straight, but the Giants are 7-2. The Giants are also a real surprise team. Weird things happen in the NFL all the time. Teams beat teams that it makes no sense. All that to say, give me the Lions over the Giants this weekend in just this weird, bizarre thing. The Lions are that sneaky team that can upset people and play spoiler, and I think they will this weekend. Give me the Lions over the Giants in the upset of the weekend. I'm going to give you the score. Lions 27, Giants 23. Shocker of the weekend, Lions over the Giants. You heard it here on Two Tone Talk. Panthers, Ravens. Ravens are coming off of a bye. Give me the Ravens. I think the Ravens, they're going to be a tough out come January. The Panthers, I think they're already looking at next season. Give me the Ravens over the Panthers, although I will say the Panthers at 3-7 are only 2 games out of first place in their division. So maybe the Panthers shouldn't totally phone it in, and maybe the Saints shouldn't either, but I think the Ravens win this one soundly. Washington Commanders against the Houston Texans. You better not sleep on these Washington Commanders. They got a little swagger going on right now. Taylor Heineke. You've got this Terry McLaurin who looks like a dog. They're coming off this win. And really, you look at the landscape of this NFC playoff picture, the Commanders are definitely not dead. They're hanging around. The Texans, on the other hand, they are very much dead. They're 1-7-1. You're talking about a number 1 draft pick potentially going to Houston. They're the worst team in the league. And I'm going to say the Commanders keep it rolling. I say the Commanders, who are 5-5, let's get them above 500, beat Houston, keep that momentum going. The Commanders keep playing like they are, keep getting that momentum. They're not a team that I would necessarily want to see in January. Did anybody see that clip of after they beat the Eagles of Coach Ron Rivera crying in the locker room because of his mom who passed away? Goodness gracious, there's something going on in Washington right now, and I wouldn't want to play them, and unfortunately Houston has the task of doing that this weekend. Give me the Commanders by a couple scores over the Texans, and I'm very interested in the Commanders going forward. Raiders, Broncos, who cares? The Broncos are no good. The Raiders are one of the most disappointing teams this year as well. I'm just going to pick the Raiders, I guess. Like I said, it doesn't matter. Russell Wilson, I don't know what's going on with him. He's just looks like a different person. The Raiders, all the talent they brought in, guys are hurt, guys are underperforming. It's a disaster. Give me the Raiders in just a who cares game. Cowboy. Now this is a big one. Cowboys Vikings. Everybody's feeling great about the Vikings, as they should. The Vikings are contenders. They're 8-1, coming off of a huge win against the Buffalo Bills in the game of the year. Cowboys coming off of a very disappointing loss to the Packers of all teams. The Packers, who, need I remind you, just lost last night to the Tennessee Titans. That makes it even sweeter, doesn't it? The Packers just beat the Cowboys. They were feeling all good about themselves. We're going to turn our season around. And here come the Titans just to beat them into oblivion. But back to the Cowboys. Cowboys, Vikings. It would be mighty easy to pick the Vikings. It'd be mighty easy to pick the Vikings. I'm going with Dallas. I just think for the Vikings, it's too good to be true that they would beat the Bills and the Cowboys back to back. I think it's going to be a battle. It's going to be down to the wire. Give me the Cowboys over the Vikings. I think the Cowboys are more desperate. They're 6-3. They're trying to keep pace in that NFC East with an Eagles team that's really pulled away from them. I mean, they're 2 games ahead, but the Eagles beat the Cowboys head-to-head. They still got to play each other again, but the Giants are ahead of them. The Commanders starting to breathe down their neck if you lose this one. Give me the Cowboys over the Vikings. It's more important. The Vikings do not have to have this game. They are so far ahead in their division that's a wash. Cowboys are more desperate here, so give me the Cowboys over the Vikings in what may be, once again, the game of the week. Bengals Steelers. I just think the Steelers are in a clear rebuild. I think the Bengals, who are coming off of a bye, they're really trying to, they're the defending AFC champions, and they want to try and get this thing rolling. They've been kind of up and down, inconsistent. Gotta pick the Bengals over the Steelers here. I mean, the Bengals, they're I think they're still without Jamar Chase right now. So but they still got more than enough talent to beat Pittsburgh. Give me the Bengals. And interesting race in that division between the Bengals and the Ravens. It's going to be very interesting in the months to come, but give me the Bengals over the Steelers. Sunday Night Football, Chiefs, Chargers. Chargers, to me, have been kind of a disappointing team so far this season. I think if you lose this game, you can go ahead and wrap the AFC West up and give it to the Chiefs, and I think they will lose. Games in LA, the Chargers have no home field advantage because their fans don't show up for them. I'm going with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs, this will put them at 8-2, and I think you pretty much wrap the AFC West in red and white and give it to the Chiefs at that point. And the Chargers, I mean, they're going to have to fight to get back in. Right now, if they lose this game, they fall to 5-5, and I think they're the odd team out in the AFC, and that's a disappointment because I think a lot of people had the Chargers pegged as a wild card playoff team this year, and it's not looking like it's going to happen. But especially if they lose this game, and I think they will. Give me the Chiefs over the Chargers on Sunday night. And then the Monday nighter, 49ers and Cardinals. The Cardinals are too inconsistent for my liking, and the 49ers are a team that people are trying to get pumped up about them and trying to really view them as a contender, and they should with all those weapons. And so for that reason, I think the 49ers win the Monday Night Football game, and really with the Seahawks, I think having a week off, and the Bucks I see have the week off as well. With the Seahawks having a week off, this will give the 49ers a chance to pick up a game on them in that division, and people are really going to just start waiting on the Niners to catch the Seahawks and surpass them in that division. I think the 49ers get the win over Arizona Monday night. So there's my picks for the games coming up this weekend. And again, how about those Titans defeating the Packers last night 27-17? Can the Titans keep it going? Can they keep that offensive production up? Man, I was so encouraged by what I saw from TREYLON Burks last night. So encouraged from what I saw from Ryan Tannehill. So encouraged from what I saw from Todd Downing last night. Not encouraged at all from what I've seen from him this morning. Irresponsible. But, I'm thrilled with what I saw from the Titans last night. Defensively, although they were banged up, they hung in there. And now they get some time to rest. And so that means you and I do too. We can sit back and watch all these other teams fight it out this weekend, and then have a happy Thanksgiving next week as we prepare for a revenge game against the Bengals. Thank you guys. This is Two Tone Talk Podcast. And for anybody that's listening, it's on YouTube. It's anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, all that good stuff. You can listen to this while you drive if you just want the audio, or the video is obviously on YouTube. Thank you guys for listening to the Two Tone Talk Podcast. Here's the football. Tighten up. Bye, everybody.
Feel free to be whoever you want to be. Feel free to dance. Feel free to sing. Just feel